So let's take a second and talk about vector graphics versus raster graphics. What's the difference? Why do we have them? So vector graphics are mathematical equations or mathematical graphics. It's a curve that is mathematically created. Raster graphics are simply pixelated graphics. So you've got little boxes that make up your image. I'll show you what I mean here between Photoshop and Illustrator. So here I have Photoshop on the left, Illustrator on the right. So Photoshop here, Illustrator on the right. Same thing, I've got a red circle with a black border. And let's take a look at the vector. Actually, let's take a look at Photoshop first. So here's Photoshop. And if I zoom in, you can see that we have some pixelation here. We've got some gray. The more I zoom in, you can see the pixels around that circle. That is a rasterized graphic. It's little boxes that make up that image or that shape. Let's zoom out. Now, that's at 200%, and we were all the way into, I think, almost 500%, 600%. If I zoom down here, there you go. Let's jump over to Illustrator and take a look. All right, so here we are in Illustrator. I'm at 200% already with my circle. Let's zoom in to 600%. And you can see that the edge of, if I pan over here, the edge of my circle is still pretty sharp. It's all mathematically created. That line and that curve is mathematically created, so it's always smooth, no matter how big or small it is. The great thing about a vector graphic is that you can create that image so small, and then it's like a really small image. You could throw it in an email, send it to somebody to use, but they could blow that thing up as big as they want. And because it's vector, it's not going to get pixelated. It won't get pixelated until they say, hey, I'm going to rasterize this. Once they raster it, now it becomes all those little boxes like we saw in Photoshop. So everything in Photoshop is rasterized. Everything in Illustrator is vector. Okay. Now, can you bring a vector graphic into Photoshop? Of course you can. Can you bring a photo or a rasterized image into Illustrator? Yes, you can. So you can get those same issues, however, as far as like rasterization or pixelated. So for instance, here I am in Illustrator. Let's go ahead and say, let's zoom out. We're going to save this quick. Yep. We'll say the image, that's fine. Well, there we go. Now it looks like it's rasterized right now. I'm just going to scale this down so it's about the same size as our other circle. I'm going to hit enter. And look at that. I've got my smart object and my ellipse. So if I turn off my ellipse, look at that. It's already rasterized. If I zoom in here, look at the boxes you can see already all the way into, say, 600%. It's already rasterized. So can I convert this to a vector? Nope. It's already like that. You cannot make a change. So with that, think about your output. Think about what you're working on and what your final output is going to be. Should you work on something that, like maybe it's a logo, do you need to work on that in Illustrator? That might be a better thing to use in Illustrator, creating a vector graphic, especially for a logo, because logos are used on everything from business cards to posters. So if you've got a small logo, you can blow that thing up as big as you want or make it as small as you want and not lose any detail. So something to think about there. The minute you bring it into Photoshop, it's going to be rasterized. It's going to be pixelated if you try to bring that thing up, you know, super large if you're starting from that small postage stamp size logo. So something to think about there. So difference between vector and rasterized. Rasterized, made up of little boxes, little cubes. Pixelation, might run into issues like that. Vector, mathematical curves. It's all done with math, so everything is smooth. No matter how big or small you make it, everything is going to be smooth no matter what size you look at that. I hope this helps you understand the difference between pixelation, or excuse me, I hope this helps you understand the difference between rasterized and vector graphics. And until next time, keep creating.